Cars were targeted by thieves on Sausalito Boulevard and right here on Edwards Avenue, where some drivers woke up to a view like this. Most people were outside enjoying this beautiful day up until they heard what they thought were fireworks, and then they quickly came to learn that it was in fact gunshots. Well, although they say life will never be the same without their daughter, they've forgiven the man responsible, who they believe will instead be rightfully judged in the court of law. They're going to be waiting out here in front of the jail, so when these undocumented immigrants exit, they can be arrested on the spot. But an elderly woman who's lived here for 21 years, who is coming back home, told me that she's always been uncomfortable with them being here, considering that their wounds are still much more fresh. So police remind people to not leave anything inside the car in plain sight. Also remember to lock your doors. Then you're asked to follow a pen using your eyes without moving your head. Next, you're asked to take 9 steps heel to toe and turn in a stepped pivot motion to repeat. And the winner will serve a term until 2020 for the unexpired term of the late Ed Lee. Live in San Francisco, Ella SOGOMONIAN, KRON 4 News. Pathway Home counselor Haley Raigdahl is still in a state of shock tonight after the gunman spared her life, but then ended up taking the lives of 3 others, her colleagues that she's looked up to during her time working here. It was another day at her first job that suddenly took a frightening turn for Haley Raigdahl as a former patient, Albert Wong, walked into a staff party at the Pathway Home holding a gun. Still in shock, her father met with KRON 4 News on her behalf.
He called out, I think, obviously 4 names and said that they could go. And my daughter was one of the names.
Haley started work as a counselor for the nonprofit after she graduated from Sonoma State for psychology. Her father is grateful Wong let her go, but says that he can't dwell on the danger that comes with the profession.
Try not to get too fearful and worry too much about it. You know, I don't want to live my life that way, but yeah, I think about it, and of course, you know, I want her to be safe, but it's a career helping people.
His daughter ran to safety, where she waited for 8 hours during the hostage situation, only to find that the lives of the 3 women that she's looked up to were tragically cut short. And her father tells me that Haley is still faced with this reality that continues to sink in for her, and she has been focusing on helping the remaining veterans of the Pathway Home in the meantime, while she copes with her own loss and her own trauma by turning to a group called Victims of Crime for help. Live in Yountville, Ella SOGOMONIAN, KRON 4 News. Well, it's clear that Bubbles was loved by many people. This vigil over my shoulder has turned into a full-fledged block party tonight, and it's just a testament to who he was. And I spoke with witnesses in the area who say that although the Tenderloin sees its fair share of violence, this was one of the worst incidents he's ever seen. Friends say Anthony Torres, better known as Bubbles, embodied San Francisco with gender-bending style that could not be missed.
Friendly, happy, smiling, usually, you know, wearing some fun outfit or Daisy Dukes and boots, and just smiling, and a joyous person with really beautiful energy.
Bubbles' life was cut short in his neighborhood on the corner of Myrtle and Larkin in seconds, when on Saturday around 3 a.m. a shouting match led to the deadly shooting. Although the Tenderloin district sees its share of violence, witnesses say this was one of the most brutal scenes.
6 bullets, it didn't even take like 1-2 seconds, and you know, everybody thought it's someone shooting in the air, a crazy guy or something, but he shot the guy 6 times, and that was so bad. For what? You know, it's not even worth it.
Those who saw it happen described the suspect as a tall Asian man of medium build, seen leaving the New Century strip club before shooting Bubbles, then running off. Sunday night, a vigil was held at the very site he was killed. They paid homage to the music lover with dance and, of course, Bubbles. It's another day of computer coding in Silicon Valley. The lifeblood of the tech industry has in turn given a second chance at life for Ali Tambura.
I definitely think that coding opened up all the opportunities to me. Without those skills, none of these opportunities would be here.
Tambura didn't learn the skill in college, but instead in prison. It was here at San Quentin Prison, where some may believe it to be the end of the road, but for Tambura was the beginning of his journey just beyond these prison walls. San Quentin is the first in the state to host a program called Code 7370 in partnership with nonprofit The Last Mile and the California Prison Industry Authority. An instructor along with Silicon Valley mentors teach coding to qualified inmates.
They are not their crime. They are individuals who have worked really hard to get to be where they are. They're invested in their own success and their future, and feel very strongly that at one point in their lives they took something away from the community, and now it's time for them them to give back.
It was here Tambura learned to code with 3 years left in his 14-year sentence for assault. It was also where he first met Mark Zuckerberg during a tour. Little did he know he would one day work for the Facebook CEO. Tambura now writes code at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative that advocates for criminal justice reform.
One of the things incarceration does is it takes away your purpose. And so for many, many years, my purpose was just that of survival. But then as my time started winding down, I started getting closer to parole. The last mile and learning to code gave me a purpose.
Too many people right now go through the criminal justice system, and they're almost consigned to having very limited opportunity. So I think it's incumbent on all of us who hire people to have an open mind, and more than an open mind, to be desirous of people who need a second chance.
The hope is that with a good paying job, a former inmate will make life changes and stay out of prison forever. There are more than 112,000 inmates in California prisons. The State Department of Corrections reports it costs taxpayers $72,000 per year to house each person. And just over 44% of those released are going right back in.
When you hire somebody who was formerly incarcerated, you're actually helping public safety. You're helping it so that that person never goes out and commits another crime or recidivates. So it's kind of a win-win situation for employers.
The Last Mile reports of the nearly 40 graduates who were released from prison all got jobs and none have gone back. As for Tambura, a new career and a six-figure salary may be the ticket to staying out. In Silicon Valley, SOGOMONIAN, KRON 4 News.